Hey everybody, welcome to our live stream at lunch. I'm here with another person. It's not just a monologue being delivered to the computer. This is our morning edition host, Zach Boblet. Hopefully you're hearing him in the mornings. Zach, why don't you tell us something about yourself? Where are you from?
I'm from Central Illinois, so a lot of corn and soybeans around me growing up, and I was able to move out here after a year up in Chicago, and it's been very exciting this past, 10, 11 months since I started working at KWGS.
You've been here almost a year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And tell us how you ended up, where exactly did you come from?
Oh, yeah. I came from Northwestern. I went to Northwestern for my master's degree, so I got to just work with some of the best journalism minds in the country at the Medill School of Journalism up there. We had a view of the Navy Pier, so I got to see that big old Ferris wheel in Lake Michigan, which made it difficult to pay attention during class. But yeah, I got to learn a lot up there from some of the best minds in the country.
So you said you've been exploring our city of Tulsa?
Yeah, there's a lot going on downtown. Midtown area all the time. So I try, morning edition, it makes it a little more difficult, but I try to get out and go to some shows, go to some concerts. There's some great music in town.
Can you tell us a good one you saw recently?
A good concert I've seen recently. It wasn't recent, but the story I did a while back on Sierra Spirit I thought was really good. The native artist. She's a really good musician. Kind of has, is it Phoebe Waller-Bridger?
Phoebe Bridgers.
See, I get her and the actress from Fleabag mixed up.
I love that show.
So they're very they have similar names, and I get them both mixed up. But yeah, she's very similar vibes to that. Sierra Spirit's great, though.
I remember that she performed at Chimera, right?
Yeah,
I did a story on that.
Yeah.
I was just checking that out the other day because I was entering us into some awards. So.
Yes.
But let's talk about some of the reporting that you've done since you've been here in Tulsa. And when I was thinking about interviewing you on this stream, I thought, what story would I want to ask Zach about? And I decided the Taste of Poland story, which I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little synopsis of what that story was about?
Yeah, so that story was about Paczki Day is what it's called, at least in the U.S. It's around Fat Tuesday during the Lent period for Catholics. And it's a big deal for Polish Catholics. They eat this sweet donut called a paczki. It's filled with a kind of jelly, but it's really more than just about that. And I was driving by the Taste of Poland, which is over on Memorial Drive, and I drove by it. I was like, oh yeah, it's a big deal in Chicago because there's a big Polish population. I'm wondering if they have a Paczki Day here in Tulsa. And then I just reached out to them. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to do a big celebration, a big Paczki Day. I think the owner made over 200 paczkis and was selling them all that day. So it was very interesting.
So you just drove by and decided to check it out, and it worked out.
Yeah, that's wheels on the ground, boots on the ground. I don't know what the
boots on the ground.
But that's the good thing about local journalism is you have people in the community on the ground, and reaching out, trying to find these little stories that I think bring the community together. And I think that story did a pretty good job of doing that.
It really did. Out of all your work, it was one of my favorites. So, but you mentioned this restaurant owner who made 200 donuts.
Yeah.
Tell us about her.
Yeah, she's incredible. Like, I wish I could bottle her energy. She has so much. She's just like running around like a chicken with the head cut off, like going all over the place, like checking if this table's okay, if that table's okay, going back, checking on the cooks in the back, taking phone calls, taking orders up front. She's doing the work of like 3 or 4 people. And then she sat down with me, and even when people were entering the restaurant, she's just like giving them a hug of the people she knows. And
wow.
It's really like a real family atmosphere. And she was just such a delight. And she actually started selling pierogi, which is a Polish dumpling, at various like farmers markets in the area. I believe Owasso was one specifically, and I think Broken Arrow as well. She sold a couple of different spots her pierogi, and that's how she got the idea to run her own food business.
a pierogi being a heavy dumpling, as you taught me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's weird because there's things like you don't realize that aren't as big. Like just growing up in Illinois, us having like a pretty good sized Polish population, I just knew all about pierogi, and I didn't realize it wasn't like a thing in certain areas. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's not as big a deal as I thought.
Well, you knew about the pączki too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Well, so what's the? How did you know about Pączki Day?
It was just something. I lived in a neighborhood of Chicago called Pilsen, which now is more of a Latin community, but originally was a Polish community. That's where the name Pilsen comes from. And every year, there would be this Pączki Day where they didn't matter what kind of bakery or donut shop it was, they were serving the Polish community of Chicago. So they were all trying to do their own spin on it and sell it. And
a competition.
It wasn't really a competition. It was like a non-competition competition, but it's also just like everyone's invested and interested in eating those.
Yeah.
On that specific day.
On that specific day.
Yeah.
That's so. How is the restaurant? So Taste of Poland. It's on. Where is it again?
It's on Memorial. It's in this little strip mall. To me, the best restaurants are always just randomly in a strip mall.
I want to believe that. I do.
You do?
But then when you make a mistake, it's not good.
Oh, yeah, then you make a mistake. Taste of Poland is not a mistake, though, because it was very, it was very good. It's over on Memorial. I actually went there recently and had their Hunter stew, which was really good. It's sauerkraut, cabbage. There is some beets in there, plum. It's very, very hearty food. And then I also had like a honey cake, and it was like this layered cake. It was incredible. Wow. So it's really like outside of the pączki, it was just a great food spot, and it's also food you're not used to. No one really thinks of Polish food, and it's kind of good to get a different addition to your flavor spectrum, so to speak.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the live stream. I think we have accomplished perhaps 10 minutes of streaming, and thank you for joining us too out there. And you can tune in at 89.5. You can listen to Zach on Morning Edition. And also you can visit our website, publicradiotulsa.org.